Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs. My business partner is encouraging me to say that a lot more.
That's good. It's good to claim who you are.
Yeah. I mean, we did the research ourselves.
Vetted, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so today I'm sitting here with Ray Whitcomb with Junk Removed Now. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, we do full service junk removal and dumpster rental service.
Okay.
It's like the short answer of it.
I was about to say, can you tell us a lot about what you do?
Yeah.
In a sentence? There you go, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, people ask us like what we haul away, and it's like we haul anything and everything except hazardous waste and dead bodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you done that without knowing?
I did have an older gentleman get really mad that all of his bird feeders were getting ransacked by a squirrel, and he took out a squirrel and put it in a bag. The trash man wouldn't take it, and he had us take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the only dead body you've taken?
That's the only one that I've taken that I was like, that's okay, that's it. No other.
Okay, yeah. Lesson learned?
Yeah, lesson learned.
All right, sweet. Well, I'm going to roll the intro music. We're going to get more into about your business and get started and learn about that. But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Atmos Planning. They do financial planning, and yeah, I just wanted to shout out for them. We're looking to have more sponsors too, so we're excited about that, and definitely want to show appreciation for the sponsors. I am not in my microphone.
There you go.
I think it's extra sensitive.
There you go. Well, financial planning is a big thing, especially with people who ran into a lot of issues this last year.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And he, specifically helps business owners and helps them succeed in their business. And then a lot of businesses suffered this year too. So
yeah.
So yeah, there's that. So I'm gonna roll this intro music.
Let's go.
This is a show where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners who are mostly in Colorado Springs, doing things in the community of Colorado Springs. Yeah.
Nice.
So how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man. I mean, everyone's really amped up for this snowstorm that's on the way.
I know. Everyone keeps saying it, and I keep forgetting it every time. Like I don't even pay attention to the weather, honestly.
They said there's going to be like 1 to 2 feet, and I'm like, the last time that really happened was like 1998, and I don't know if it. There's been a lot of times they've said that, not a lot of times it delivered. So
okay, I seen an article, and I don't know how fake it was.
Okay,
but up on Pikes Peak, it said like 50 feet. And I don't even know how that works.
Maybe 5. I don't know about 50. Maybe 5.
It said 50.
If that would be crazy.
Maybe it was just clickbait. Yeah. I almost clicked on it. I might have, but then it didn't load fast enough, so I don't think I read it.
So you backed out.
Maybe that was their goal.
Well, succeeded. You're talking about it now. Someone's gonna Google that article.
Okay, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, that's cool though. So, how long have you been out in Colorado Springs?
I grew up here.
Okay,
yeah, I grew up here.
I was thinking that because you're like, they've said it, but they've with the snow stuff, you're like they said it, but it doesn't usually happen. So right. That means you probably been here for at least a while.
Yeah. Grew up here, moved away a couple times, but I always came back.
Okay, where'd you go to?
I lived in Arkansas and Tennessee for a couple years.
Okay.
And then I lived in Canada for a year.
Canada, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how's that like?
Canada was cool. I was on the west side of Canada, so it's pretty much Minnesota with French on the signs.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Did you learn French?
I did not. No.
Okay.
The western side's like pretty much English.
Okay.
But as a nation, French is also their second language. So.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of nations I've noticed do that. Germany's has a lot of English as their second language, and everyone just knows English, but we don't know their language.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So what kept you coming back to Colorado Springs?
Family.
Okay.
Yeah, family was the biggest driver of that.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
What keeps me here is the mountains.
Okay.
The adventure.
Yeah. I love the mountains. Where do you like to go?
Anywhere on hikes. I got 4 kids, and
okay.
I like to keep them all outside. They're all under 10, and so we just go on like local hikes or Palmer Park or.
For sure.
Yeah, or go in the mountains on the weekends.
Yeah. I mean, I love going to Palmer Park. It's one of my favorites. I actually probably go there at least once a day. Sometimes I don't get to go there, but yeah, I love. It's a good hiking spot. I did this thing called like a walking meditation, where it's just like I'm being conscious and mindful as I'm walking, no distractions, no nothing. And I loved to use Palmer Park for that walking meditation.
Yeah, it's a great spot and great views.
Yes, and that really helps with the meditation.
Yeah, put things into perspective.
Yeah, and I like to look at it and just like you can see the mountains, but you can also see the whole city in a sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything between Palmer Park and the mountains, which is there's a lot. You can see the Garden of the Gods over here, and you can look over to the left about 30 degrees and see downtown.
Right.
So it's really cool.
It is really cool.
It inspired me to want to make an invention where I could, well, I guess I'd not make an invention. I guess they already have it. A jetpack. I just wanted the jetpack all the way to downtown. I was like, that'd be so much easier.
That'd be a sweet trip.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That would be a pretty sweet trip.
So I guess I did think of something. They were like pods, and it was gonna be like a pod that had like jetpacks on the pods.
Yeah,
so
it would basically be a drone that you could ride in.
But with jets.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. The problem of a creative mind, you can always think of something to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I even sketched it out. I'm not even kidding.
There you go, man.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing your business?
I've been doing junk for 7 years. I mean, technically, it's been 5 because there was like the first year that I didn't know what I was doing, and I lost my lunch. I took on a contract, and I didn't get paid for the contract for 90 days. So I'd like work, finish a job, and I'm gonna get paid for that job for 90 days out. So I had like never had like no debt. I'd always done cash. And then I got a credit card to like float. After 6 months of doing that contract, I ironed out all my expenses, and I was making $3 an hour.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
So I like within 15 minutes of finding that out, I emailed the guy who had the contract with, and I said, I'm done. Like I'm out. Like I'm not doing any more work. And then the next 15 minutes, I called a friend who owned a plastics manufacturing plant, and I said, hey man, I need a job.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't have a job right now, but what I like, give me till Tuesday. I'll make a job for you. We'll come in. We'll figure out like what we can do and go from there. We sat down and talked, and he was like, what do you need to make all your bills? And so like we figured out after taxes like exactly what I needed to make. I had like $50. Like
that's the survival number, essentially.
Yeah, that was like the survival number, right? So like I came in, and he like made it so that it'd be all right. So I worked that job for a year, and I'm like naturally really creative, always kind of on the go. Like same thing, like I'll do something and then have some idea and I'll sketch it out. Like
yeah, nice.
I relate to that. Like
that's awesome.
Really, really, really well. So plastic manufacturing is really hard because it's like you're basically part of Henry Ford's production line. So you sit in one spot, you do one job.
Yeah.
And if the night before, if they've ran like 200,000 parts, I would sit at a table, pick up a part with an X-Acto knife, and I would shave off the excess plastic that was on that part and set it in a different bin. And I would do that all day. Like
that's no fun.
Oh, it was.
That's insane, man. Well, okay. So you were in your business for how long before?
For a year.
For a year, and you realized, oh crap, this is not working.
Right.
Something's wrong.
I put my family in a like we were like in the red hard, like deep in the red. Like I put my family in debt. We depleted our savings. We're like looking at like eviction. Like
oh no.
Like really, like I put my family in a really, really hard spot.
Yeah. How was that for you?
Stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, I'm not one to give up on. In the end, I'm always one to like, all right, how can I adapt? How can I learn from like the mistakes that I've made?
So you had you took the job for
a year.
For a year.
Yep.
Just shaving plastic off of
right. Well, like being who I was, I would always innovate, and I'd always try to like streamline stuff. So I'd walk in, I would look at like the process that they had. That like me and the owner got to get like we liked each other a lot.
Okay.
Because the reason he gave me the job was that he knew how hard I worked. So he had interacted with me enough that he knew that if I came in, I wasn't going to stop moving. I'm not the guy that like tries to milk the clock. I'm the guy that's always trying to like, hey, well, let's get this done the fastest thing so we can get to like the next 3 things that have been put off.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd come in and I'd be really efficient. So over that, oops, sorry.
Oh, no worries. It happens.
My hands move, man.
Yeah. It only happens with guests whose hands move.
Guilty as charged.
Okay.
Yeah. So over that course of that year, I learned I moved up multiple different positions because I would I'd become efficient. I would learn it to a point that like I could take 2 people's work and make it so it was 1 person's work.
Okay.
And move that.
So you're like, do I get 2 times the pay?
No, he did me a solid, right?
Yeah.
He created a job for me, and
that helped you keep it exciting too for you.
Well, it helped me keep like
interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I did that over the course of the year. But what I learned in high school was that if my hands were busy, I could absorb material. So for that whole year, I listened to business books and business podcasts and retaught myself. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So year of doing that, you were able to at least balance out and thrive or survive at least.
Yeah.
You were able to get out of the red essentially, or you're still in there.
It took me 5 years after that to get everything that I had got my family in out of. It took me that long to get out completely. But that job was able to give me so that I could like at least breathe.
Yeah.
To like reassess. So at the end of that year, I sat down with a business consultant about like business.
Nice.
Yeah, a local serial entrepreneur, and he helped me like, this is what you should do. And then I quit that and started my junk business back up.
Okay.
And that was 5 years ago.
Okay. That's when you started it back up. Starting it back up, what's the first thing you do?
Well, I had the truck and trailer. I rebranded it as Junk Remove Now, and like redid the logo, but I still had like a lot of things I didn't know. So the last 5 years has been, a lot of self-taught. Like I didn't finish high school. I got my GED.
Okay.
And like, so I've never learned the way that school is taught.
For sure. A lot of people don't learn that way.
Right. Yeah. So I had to like, it's been a lot of trial and error. It's been a lot of like little steps. And then like I followed that business counselor's advice. And like at the time, the junk business, as far as the industry, no one was doing, they're called bandit signs. They're these little signs that sit on a corner. Right. And he was like, he's looking at as far as my competition goes at the time. He said, like, nobody's doing this. You should do it. And I thought, there's no way that those stupid little signs work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was like, no way. Right?
Yeah. You've never had to use them before, so you didn't know.
Right. Well, and no one else is doing it, right? And we're
oh, yeah. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. We're looking at, like, franchises that are doing, $500,000 to $1 million a year with junk. And they have a whole team behind them, like, telling them the good and the bad and how to, like, get the best SEO and get the best traffic.
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
so they have like multiple franchise
so
owners.
No one's doing it. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
No one's doing it. So there has to be a reason, or it's just a blind spot in their vision.
Yeah.
Which is like why you would go to like somebody else that's outside of your industry. That's why people go and get like consultants, because a consultant can come in outside of an industry and be like, well, why aren't you doing that?
Yes.
And yeah. Right.
No, for sure.
Right. So I started doing these little signs, and I got the signs, and then I didn't do anything with them.
Oh, no. You just let them sit?
I just let them sit. I was afraid, right? Like, I was afraid that they were going to work. Right?
And is there any laws against that?
The city code is Friday at noon to Monday at noon is the code. On
when you can do it?
Is when you can do it.
Okay. On
the corners of, like, intersections or the grass between the sidewalk and the street. That's technically...
That's like a compromise that someone made, dude.
Yeah. It's something that, like, you put the sign out and you pretty much know that, like, you're not going to come back and pick it up. Like, it's just going to sit there, and the city guys will come and pick it up if it's in a high traffic area.
Okay. So you're saying that it's no one really cares.
Yes and no. There are some neighborhoods that like people super care, and other places that like they don't care.
For sure. All right. So the signs, so you didn't do them.
I didn't do them at first. I got the signs. I didn't. And my wife, bless her heart, love you. She was like, Ray, what do you got to lose? You already spent the money on the signs, so go put them out. So I put like 30 signs out. I bought 200. I put out 30, and I did $3,000 in business within like 10 days.
30 signs.
30 signs.
10 days.
10 days.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
There's that much business out there. It's abundance, man.
Yeah, well,
it's abundant.
Yeah. So
and you only took a piece.
Right, exactly. Right. So I started putting out all these signs, and like interesting part of the story is like at the time I thought, why don't I work for another junk company? And my uncle knew the owner of 1-800-GOT-JUNK in town.
Okay. And I seen them drive by earlier, and I thought of you. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
That's not him.
Right.
I was thinking about how they're probably your big like corporate competition.
They're like the guy who owns it is really smart, smart marketing person, and he was at the time when I tried to apply there. He was just the operations manager.
Okay.
He has since purchased the franchise locally and like tripled their numbers. Like
Sweet. Okay.
yeah, like he's blown them up. He's done really, really well. Really, really smart. And he has an abundance mindset too, where it's like there's enough junk to go around. Like you don't have to. There's like you don't need to be cutthroat about it. And
sure.
But at the time, I tried to get a job, and he never called me back. And then like 6 weeks later, I'm putting out these signs. He calls my uncle, and he's like, you know, who's this? Who is putting out these signs? And he's like,
you're dropping wisdom right here. You guys listening to this? Like,
yeah. And he's like, oh, that's my nephew. And he was like, what? That kid that I didn't hire?
Okay.
Yeah. So I started putting out those signs, and the signs looked professional. I answered the phone professionally, but I was still trying to get out of this hole that I put myself in, and so my truck was a 1972 Chevy truck, brown and white, and the trailer was a trailer built in 1955 that I bought for $250 at a garage sale because these people were moving.
Okay.
Oh, it was yellow. It was like mustard yellow, and the color below it was like orange yellow.
Okay. It was horrendous.
It's horrendous. Yeah, it didn't look super professional at all. But in the end, when you're talking about junk, what matters is like how you leave the job site.
Yes.
Right?
For sure.
Right? So I wasn't starting out like no bank would ever look at me for a loan, right? I wasn't like the pretty thing, but I knew that I could work hard, I could do a really great job, I could answer the phone professionally, and in the end that people would be pleased with my work ethic, right? And eventually I would get the nice trucks and like the nice uniforms and logoed hats and all that stuff, but like
is that where the yellow comes from? Or no, that's a dark lighter green actually.
Yes, it's just a lighter green. Yeah. No. No, I went with green because it's like it kind of like I did like the color research stuff. Have you ever heard about that?
Oh yeah, it's like a positive feeling.
Yeah, it's like also like the companies that have like really green is like John Deere, right? So you're thinking like Earth, right? And in the end, you want like junk to be recycling.
I like it, man. Yeah. Yeah, I know like blue is kind of like corporate kind of feeling.
It's kind of like a trust. The color thing that I read was like it's like trusting. You like trust that.
And so these are psychological things we're talking about that have been like studied.
Right.
Like we're not just saying blue means trust.
Yeah, you can look it up. You can I mean, do your own research.
Exactly.
This isn't exactly. We're not the experts.
The color experts here.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what a complimentary color is though, so.
Hey, there you go, right?
Yeah.
So I did the signs and they worked, and then it was like I wanted a dump truck, like so bad, but I couldn't afford a dump truck, right? Because I still had like my demons in my closet, right, from my bad decisions on the business, and so I couldn't like spend $5,000 on a dump truck, right? And so I keep working. It's like 2 years in, and like coming up on my third year. And I'm always scouring Craigslist because like Facebook Marketplace wasn't on at the time. And there was a guy who had a dump truck in Black Forest, and he wanted firewood for it.
Firewood. Did you go out and start chopping?
Yo. Okay, so like, let's talk about like sometimes the craziness of how the universe works.
Yeah.
Right. I had somebody in my life who wanted to split firewood as a workout. And where I parked my truck and trailer, because I live in an apartment, I couldn't park the truck and trailer in front of the apartment because it like, any rate, it didn't work.
That's a workout that pays off.
Yeah. But how do you get the wood?
Yeah, how do you get the wood?
Well, so the guy parking his equipment right next to me was a tree company.
What?
Yeah, and I had a conversation with him, and I was like, "Hey, I need firewood. Like, you know, I know that you have a 12-inch chipper, so anything above 12 inches, you can't."
Did you let them know why you needed the firewood?
Yeah, I don't think they really care.
Okay.
Yeah, they were like, "Yeah, I'll just let you know an address if you can pick it up the same day." And I'm like, "All right." So me and this friend for 2 years had been collecting firewood and stacking it in his backyard. He had never split any of the firewood. It had just like mounded in his backyard.
Oh, because that's why you got the wood, so he could split it.
So he could split it. So we would spend all this time over the course of 2 years, just tons of sweat equity to go pick up free wood.
That was the exercise right there.
Right. And then I get this this general contractor, retired general contractor, who just has like a 1-ton dually truck with a tilt bed, right? It's nothing pretty.
Yeah.
I go out there with my grandpa and find out if it's running or not. And it runs, the dump bed works. I mean, it's definitely rough. It was a 1974 truck. So then we made a deal on 8 cords of wood, and within 10 days, I had 8 cords of wood at his house, stacked and delivered and pretty, and I ran that truck, and it was...
That's an amazing trade deal. That's you were talking about trade deals before we started.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Right. That's sick. I love that idea. I'm glad you shared that story.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna fix this audio. I think my noise gets a little bit. It's cutting me off. I have to get like really close.
Sure, man. Do your thing.
So I'm gonna fix that real quick. And actually, while I do that, I'm gonna restart these on the cameras.
Cool.
We're back.
We're back. Yeah. So I traded for that, and then I didn't know how to. The bed sides were wood, and the bed deck was wood, and when I drive down the road, the wood sides would flap back and forth.
It was a dump truck?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's
a 1-ton tilt bed, so that it's not like a dump truck, like a big, would deliver rock to your house. It's like a, just like a 1-ton truck dually with a 12-foot bed and has a hydraulic lift that lifts up the bed.
Okay.
So it's not we're just talking about a pickup truck.
Yeah. When you say 1-ton truck, that means small truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're thinking about commercial trucks, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do commercial trucks weigh averagely?
If you're talking about a tandem axle, you're looking 32,000 pounds.
I was thinking a lot more than a 1-ton thing.
Yeah. That 1 ton probably weighed.
Was 1 ton meaning that it could carry 1 ton, or that it weighed 1 ton?
It's so the manufacturer breaks down what the truck is capable of handling.
Okay.
And so a 1-ton truck can handle 10,000 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you have a 3/4 ton truck or a half-ton truck. So most people have a half-ton truck.
So you got that truck.
I got the truck.
And you started hauling.
I kept hauling, but then I didn't have to, because with the trailer...
Yeah, you kept hauling. You were already hauling.
Yeah, with the trailer, I had to hand load and hand unload things. So, I'd have to figure out the most efficient way to load stuff on, and then, when I loaded it, I had to think about how I was going to unload it, right? So it took a lot of time.
Yeah.
So a dump is really efficient, because then you get there, you press a button, the bed lifts up, and everything just slides out.
Ah.
Yeah.
You save money.
Yeah,
you save, because time is money.
You save a ton of time.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you could basically go from picking up one thing in a day to multiple things in a day.
Yeah. Right. Because do multiple jobs then.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you expand? How did you grow? How did you get out of the hole?
Well, in the winter, I'd always work trade jobs. So I'd work call a friend that was an electrician or whatever, and I was always really good with my hands.
Okay.
So I could do and anybody that I worked with enjoyed me working with them, because they could just tell me once and I could go back and do it again. So it wasn't like that. I didn't have to get babysat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you knew what you were doing, or how to learn what you were doing, because you were familiar with all the kind of handy kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. So the way I just kept going is
so in the winter you had to do that because there's less business.
Yeah, it's
in the
slow.
winter.
Right. Well, it's easy to no one wants to go out and deal with stuff in their backyard, or deal with stuff outside.
For sure.
Right. They tend
not even you.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah. So the way I kept going, the way I expanded is when I got into dumpsters. So I saw how busy the dumpster guys were, and I thought, oh, I should do that. And I was pretty eager about my numbers on trying to calculate the business stuff, and I thought it'd be way more profitable than it is. But it's really actually super competitive and not as profitable. Junk is way more profitable.
So dumpsters like trash.
Dumpsters the small dumpsters that would fit if you did a small renovation project in your driveway.
Oh,
so you
okay.
Put, a little
Got
dumpster.
You.
I didn't want to get into the huge ones that requires a commercial driver's license, all that other stuff.
But,
yeah. But I got into dumpsters, and what it did is it gave me a really steady bottom line. Instead of, because junk is up and down, it's volatile in the sense that it's not always consistent.
So now you could hire people and expand.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
In the end, that's what I started getting into that, and then trying to like figure out how to get dumpsters, and more of that, and then trying to figure out all the SEO stuff. And
What do you think you did majorly differently starting again?
if I was to do it again,
No, what you did do it again.
right? That's true.
And I'm saying, what did you do when you did it again? What do you think is the major thing?
The understanding my costs. The thing I did not understand when I took on that initial contract is I did not understand what it cost me to do a job. Right?
Okay.
And I also didn't understand all of the requirements pertaining to the contract. And so the junk calling part I was really good at, but we were cleaning out foreclosed homes for the banks, but I was a subcontractor of subcontractor.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time the money got to me, like all the cream's off the top and you're just getting like just enough to cover your expenses.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
Oh, right. And so I was naive at
That's not sustainable.
exactly
At all.
right. The only way I kept afloat was that I had other clients that paid my full regular junk removal rates, and that's how I was able to pay because they had so much demand that I had hired 2 guys. I'm paying them at the time $10 an hour, and I'm making 3, right?
Okay.
Right? But I didn't know that because of the gap. So the things that I changed, like with junk removal, it's like most of the time people pay you as soon as you show up, you know? So, and then getting into like having a steady bottom line with dumpsters was able to give me employees and like make sure that I could, because my thing was I wanted to treat employees good.
Yeah.
You know? And because I had like story when I was 18. I'll tell you a story when I was 18. I was working as a carpenter, right, for a subcontractor of Keller Homes. And we were getting paid $15 an hour. And one day, we're in the truck. There's 2 employees. There's me and my best friend. We were hired by this one guy, right? And I'm asking, I've always asked tons of questions just to find out, what's the real deal of stuff, right? Just so I know, more of the truth. Not that it's always transparent. Not that it's always, clear enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was asking my boss, I'm like, how much do you charge Keller Homes for our time? And at first he kind of just didn't say anything. And I was like, well, you're not saying no, so I'm going to keep asking.
Yeah.
So eventually he
That's awesome. That's probably helpful for you in business.
Yeah. My brother has a saying that if you don't ask, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I kept asking, and it turns out that he was charging $85 per man per hour to Keller Homes, right? And we were 2 18-year-olds that he would leave us on the job site for 3 days with all of the tools and all the materials because of how we worked. We would just take care of everything. And he knew enough of the other subcontractors that they would watch us to see if we were doing good enough, but we would just get stuff done. We only took 15-minute breaks. We only took a 30-minute lunch. We would just work, right? Me and this friend had owned our own lawn mowing business at 13. And the way we got around was that my dad made trailers for hand carts, and we would bungee strap our lawnmowers to the hand carts and drive around and mow lawns. So we had owned our own business super young, so we knew how to work together. There's really good communication,
Nice,
understanding about expectations, all that stuff.
for sure.
Right. So then I'm thinking about this $85 an hour, right? Which means that it's $175 an hour for me and my friend per hour, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, holy crap, man! You're charging that's what is that? 200. That's $1,500 a day, roughly.
And you guys are getting 10% of that?
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah. So then I'm running the numbers on okay, well, if I worked and I was charging $85 an hour for a year at the standard 40 hours a week, that's I think it's 100 and. It's over 6 figures, and I grew up really poor, so that was big money to me.
Yeah.
So when I look at employees, and I look at opportunities, and I look at the current I don't know how to say that word.
Economical.
Yeah, but
I think that's the word.
the social impact of the way employers treat employees, then I really want to make sure that I'm taking care of my guys. So switching to having employees, then I want to make sure that I'm taking care of all their needs, right?
Yeah.
So when I shifted to dumpsters, then I was able to properly take care of my employees and look after them.
Okay. Yeah. So that means you can pay them better.
Yeah, I could pay them. I could try to provide to the best of my ability, like more accurate living wage, right? So not paying the minimum wage, trying to make sure that like they get other opportunities, right? Because that's like the way that I survived those first couple years is like not all the junk that comes through is actually junk.
Yeah, you flip it.
Yeah, you can flip. Yeah, and tons like and a lot of the time is people. It's an emotional thing. When people get rid of junk, it's like they want to get rid of it just to get it out of their life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right. And like,
and some things aren't even junk.
Yeah, completely legitimate. But like, you're providing a service to get it out of their life to open up their right. It's like you're not really selling junk removal. Like Apple really doesn't sell phones; they sell innovation. Right.
Yeah.
With junk removal, you're not really selling that. You're selling peace of mind.
Right.
No,
for sure. Yeah. That you're solving a problem.
Yeah, you're solving a problem. Right.
And that problem is a pain to them.
Yeah, and it is, right? Like, if you don't have a truck, like, how are you going to get it out? Right? So, like, a big thing that I'll do, that I did, especially when I started out, like, I'd flip a lot of stuff.
So you guys are essentially like movers in a way.
Yeah.
Except the people don't keep their stuff that they give to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but and so, like, that kind of led me to, like, the next stage of, like, where I'm going right now, which is kind of some of the things that you've seen is, like, I've, like, shifted into how can I take the junk and make something else out of it.
Yeah, I've seen that. The art that you've been doing with it is pretty amazing, dude.
Yeah, thanks.
And the TikTok stuff, what's your TikTok, dude?
Yeah, TikTok is built from junk.
Okay, built from junk.
Yeah,
okay.
Is where I do the art stuff. I have junk removed now. Like, I got that handle for...
Is that going well for you?
Yeah, like, it went really, really well.
Is there a lot of, like, you getting a lot of, it's actually, like, sticking and getting a lot of traffic from it?
Okay, so the first video I did, I took a shovel head and a bunch of random parts, and I made an owl. I made a great horned owl. And then, are
you able to take that traffic and sell the stuff on like a Etsy or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. That's amazing.
Right. So yeah. So like after 4 sculptures, I went from like 1,000 followers to now over 90,000 followers.
Okay. So now when you post something, you have traffic that can actually see it, and if you post something that you just created, you actually have a potential audience that could buy from it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Well, the hardest part for me, like
you like the art. You want to keep it.
Yeah. I do love the art. The hardest part about being in the junk business is you see what people throw away. And like I grew up really poor, and when you grow up poor, like the things that like you see get thrown away, you're like, you know, as a kid, you understand that if it's thrown away in a trash can, you can just like pick it out, right? And then you like the other thing that I see in Colorado Springs, like especially, is like how many like homeless and like all the stuff that they don't have, right? And then like you look at like the other community outreach that people have in the sense of like what gets thrown away, and then how there's plenty of people like that it can get connected to, right? So like the goal with like creating the art, and the goal with some of the other like big ideas that I have is to take like what comes from junk and then redirect it to the like places that can use it, or the people like
for sure,
like working with like Restore and working with.
You should talk with Lauren Chessmore. Do you know who she is?
Yeah,
she has a similar
for chaos.
Yeah, clarity for your chaos. Yeah.
Chaos,
She has a similar mission with her business.
Yeah,
because you know, if in a sense you guys have similar businesses,
right?
In a sense, you know, she helps people deal with their mess, essentially.
Right.
Something that people have like emotional attachment to as well.
Yeah.
And you know, also she does other things too, like helps people get clarity for their chaos.
Right.
But she helps people like learn like organizational type of things to help not only help organize you. Look, me making an ad for her.
Well, she's awesome.
Yeah,
she deserves it. She deserves every bit.
Yeah. Not only organize, but helps you stay organized and helps you maintain it. But a lot of times she gets a lot of quote unquote junk that gets replaced, and she has to find places for it. Right. And so I think you guys should have a good collaboration on that specific mission. Yeah. Like you guys should bounce ideas off each other.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So how's business now?
Business is good.
What does it look like going from when you're starting out, you're just hiring, to now, and where you want to go? I guess, what's your future goals?
Right. Okay. So when I first started out, like solopreneur, all by myself, trying to figure it out, like constant, like learning and growing and trying to like figure out the next thing. Then like I felt like I not fully graduated, but like moved into more of an entrepreneur where I actually have like employees and somewhat of the process like nailed down. And like the step I want to go from now is I want to go from an entrepreneur to a business owner. So I want to like create enough systems that my business can run by itself. And like when, there we go.
There you go.
when I get all of those ducks in a row, then the next step is to like really go full time in my art. And then,
okay.
Yeah, like the thing that like super passionate that I'm like passionate about is like to create.
So once it's a business, what does that look like?
That looks like operations manager, teams, understanding stuff coming in, processes for like commercial clients and business to business relations, that all of that gets dealt with. And that
so does that mean there's a board essentially, or does it even have to have a board? People like, and you're just on the board, and there's everyone on the board is a, I guess I don't know exactly what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But,
so like a board would be like a board of like if you had like a an actual corporation.
Yeah.
No, I just want it on an operational level.
That's not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's, and you can make that happen though.
Yeah.
You can make it run on an operational level.
Yeah.
Not a corporate level.
Right. So like just because you're technically a business doesn't mean that you're a business like a big business, right? So the mentalities and like between is very much different based on like your growth or like your size, right? Like a small mom and pop shop that everything's done kind of vocally and like pen and paper, like that cannot run if you have like 5 trucks and like 25 employees and all like that. The small business mentality cannot run the bigger operation. And anytime you try to bridge that gap, there's like big learning curves, and like you have to implement things that you did not implement before. You got to let go of old stuff and bring on new stuff.
Yes, it's run differently.
It's run it like they don't operate the same way, right? So I'm just trying to navigate that and then get more into my art, because like
and so that's where would you place yourself on that scale, that gradient?
Right, so I'm trying to bridge the chasm between like having a team, and then I'm kind of like wearing like 6 hats, to like jumping over the chasm where I'm wearing like maybe 2 hats, and then the hats are divvied up between other people.
Okay. I hope they're cool hats.
yeah. So that's that's the big goal.
And then that way you can focus on more passion projects like your art.
Right, like the art and like doing stuff that, because I mean, junk has been good. It provides a great life for me and like my employees and like, but where I really want to go is like big custom art pieces and travel and.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's supposed to be like the business podcast, so like I want.
No, that's business right there.
Yeah,
that's the reason why we do business. I think like,
right.
I mean, at least part of it, and so that we can build something better for ourselves. And I think that's why a lot of people get into business. And so definitely, I get that. Yeah,
for a way to work. But yeah, like the big dream would be to live in like a school bus and travel and go like.
I've always wanted a school bus, man.
School
like,
would be sweet.
It's a whole house. I mean,
yeah,
it's a lot of space.
right. But I want my kids to experience like multiple different like types of life. So how cool would it be to like be in a school bus and drive to like a ranch in Montana and work there as like ranch hands for like a month.
Okay.
Like, and I would bring all of my fabrication stuff and I would find materials that they had on site, and then I would make a piece about the experience that we had there.
That is an amazing idea. I like it.
Like how cool would that be?
Yeah.
Right? And then
you definitely got to document it. You need to bring a film guy with you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. And then the things I think about with like a local community is I think like, what if you take like the current project, my next like TikTok video that I'm working on right now is with, we just did this job for this client, and super sad story. She was going to her dad's house to go get stuff ready for her son's birthday party, and she found her dad in the garage, who had like fallen off a ladder and hit his head on a box and was laying on the garage floor. He had been there 5 hours. He was still alive, got in the ambulance, and died on the way to the hospital.
Damn.
Yeah. Like,
that's crazy, dude.
Super, like, unexpected, right? He probably still had like 25, 30 years left in his life. Like, totally out of the blue.
ladders are dangerous. Like,
Yeah, right. Awesome guy. Like the stories that I got from her were like phenomenal. And he grew up super poor, and so he held onto a bunch of stuff. And so we took like 5 truckloads from this house.
That's exciting about like your business. That makes me excited because the kind of experiences you guys can have.
Oh, the people you meet and like the experiences they're going through life. Really, the only time people deal with junk is in a transition. Like people deal with junk no other time, right? So there has to be some sort of life event, whether that be like, you know, passing on of a loved one, or like you're downsizing, or
Never even looked at or thought about that aspect of it.
But that's how it is.
That's
like,
real. That's reality.
Yeah. So at any rate, I'm doing all this TikTok stuff, and I meet her, and then I meet her nephew, and like he's got a whole bunch of cool metal, right? And another creator on TikTok she talked about doing a heritage piece for somebody. So she took metal from that person's barn and then made a piece of art for that family to remember that person. And I was like, that's awesome. So I still have like all of this really cool metal from this home. And I went and visited with her yesterday because like he was a Vietnam vet. He was from South Carolina. And so I'm drafting up like a design right now to like make an art piece for her dad about them that would go in his home, which she purchased. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to share it? I can't wait to see this piece.
Dude, I'm at this crossroads of like, do I go he loved elk hunting, right?
Okay.
And so my current thought is like, do I make a big elk head, like out of like all these really cool pieces that he had? But like then
like one that you hang like
like it would be like a mount, like a full. So I don't know. But that's what I want to get to more of that stuff. I think like
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother business within your business.
Yeah.
That actually may make your business go to the next level, you know?
Right. Right.
Because it really separates you from what any kind of junk person is doing.
Yeah.
And it melds with your passion too. So that's important of going to the next level as well.
Yeah. Right. And
I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And like the thing for me is like when you go into someone's life and you help remove junk, right? Like the thing, like one of the things we hauled from that lady was like the ladder that he fell off of that broke. Right. And I remember just seeing like the tears in her eyes talking about this ladder. Right. And like, yeah, you experience like moments. Right. And that's like what life is about. Life is about experiences with people. Right. And like whatever you do in your life, like those experiences like define you.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I make this podcast an experience, you know.
And
you come downtown, you know, it's like it's a whole experience.
It's
you know?
true. I haven't been downtown in like months, and I was like, I walked 2 blocks because I parked my car.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
It's an all right day. It's windy a little bit.
It's a little windy.
But yeah, it's still a beautiful day.
Yeah. So looking at this thing, I want to do more of that. I want to do more of.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to promote today before we wrap this up?
I mean, I got like nice coupons for like half a truckload and full truckload, $25 off half. And
okay, so anyone who's listening to this, they can reach out to you and mention the podcast.
Mention the podcast and get $25 off half a truckload and then $50 off a full truckload.
Okay, sweet, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, cool, man. I guess we'll start wrapping this up.
Sounds good.
It sounds like we're gonna have you back on the show sometime again to tell some more stories because it sounds like you got a lot of them.
Probably too many.
Okay.
But yeah, that sounds great.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you guys on the next episode. And this has been the COS Business Podcast, the best podcast in Colorado Springs.